Hi, and welcome back to Gwen's Book Reviews, where you will find reviews on romance, action and adventure, mysteries, thrillers, and suspense. If you've written a book that falls into one of those genres and you'd like for me to review it, please do submit your request via my website. You can find the link in the description down below. And while you're there, don't forget to press that subscribe button. Now let's head on to Brunswick, Georgia. It's the setting for Bird, author Kim E. Wilson's debut novel.
Ellen Williams journeys to a place she's never been, hoping to find answers. Why did a deceased stranger leave her multi-million-dollar estate? She has inherited the Caldwell estate, a Georgia property so breathtakingly beautiful that a gift of this magnitude is beyond her understanding. This fortuitous event has come at a time when Ellen is struggling with her own direction in life. Getting out of Louisville for a while is just what she needs. Mrs. Caldwell was a mystery to many who knew her. With each step closer to untangling the mystery, painful childhood memories began to emerge of her sister Jenny, a horrifying night in the past, and of Bird. Finding the truth has a price.
I received this book from Reedsy in exchange for an honest review. And due to their limitations on how long the video can be, I'm going to have to bypass the part where I share my favorite character, favorite dialogue, and a passage from the book and go straight to the review. This is a cozy mystery set around, centered around this home. It's like 10 acres, $7.8 million house that the main character, Ellen Williams, has inherited. The catch is she doesn't recall the person, this Mrs. Caldwell, who left it to her. She doesn't know who that is, and so she therefore doesn't know why the lady would leave it to her. At first, it's like maybe she had no one else, but it turns out she does. She has a nephew who has two daughters. Now, the lady didn't leave them completely out. She left them a couple of $1 million apiece, but the main question is, why did Ellen get this house? In order to solve this mystery, readers are taken back and forth in time. We're here in the present. We're 2 years prior when Ellen took a trip with her friend, and then we also go 50 years back when she and her siblings were just, little kids, and the main focus is her sister Jenny. So there's events that happened back then that will explain some stuff that's happening now. I usually enjoy books like that. I'm not a real big fan of a book being filled with flashbacks, but in cases like this, it works, right? And I love that, chasing the story around and piecing it together. I'm a huge fan. So, and that's what we have here in this book. Unfortunately, I had trouble connecting with the main character. She is like a one-dimensional character. I couldn't empathize with her. I couldn't connect. I couldn't relate. Her personality seemed to be all over the place for a minute. In chapter 1, she's so cautious. She's almost, it's like caution mixed with cynicism. She, oh, nothing that's great ever happens to me. These people had to jump through hoops to convince her that this property was left to her. I get that people want to be cautious because of scams and stuff, but they weren't asking her for anything. They were trying to notify her of something. But I say, let's roll with it. That's her personality. This could be good. The thing is, the next day, when she goes out to the property and the nephew shows up, she just lets him on the property without, so all of that cautious behavior just goes away. She not only lets him onto the land, but she invites him to the house for coffee. And even in her head, she's saying, he could be a serial killer, or what if he has a problem with me because she didn't leave him the property? But yet she throws all that caution to the wind and not only lets him in the house, but she shares personal information about herself. That was kind of jarring to me because it didn't fit the character that we're introduced to in the first chapter. But, I guess maybe she was relaxed. I don't know. But that's pretty much what happened. The story itself, like I said, it bounces in between time, and that works to a certain degree. This story, there were some instances when we were in the past to where I thought a certain situation was amounting to something else, or it would be brought back up later and tie into something else, and it never did. And that left me wondering why that bit of information was in the book. It was just there. I couldn't figure out why. And that kind of, that's like a turnoff to me, I'm sorry, in a book when information is just there. We call it info dumping. Speaking of which, first I'd like to say this author is really good when it comes to descriptions. She has a way with words, and she can paint this vivid picture to make you feel like you're really there looking at whatever it is she's saying, the object, the room, or whatever it is. She did a great job with that. Where that ties into info dumping is there is a lot of description that does nothing to move the story forward. And there's like 3 or 4 pages in chapter 4 when she goes on a tour of a house. Of this house, we actually go on the tour with her and we get a full description of each room, and then that's it. The reason that's a problem for me is because it slows the pace considerably, and that it just didn't work for me. I wish, let me just put it to you like this for all you aspiring authors out there. If you can delete pages of your book without messing up your story and leaving your readers wondering, then it's probably an info dump, and you might want to consider, shortening that or deleting it altogether. Like I said, I could imagine this place and that was really great, but unfortunately, seeing that view, having that view, that picture in my head, it did nothing for the story. I was still like, okay, where are we going? And I asked myself that many times throughout this book. But you know what? Reviews are subjective. What didn't work for me may work for you, so I still say give it a read. That brings us now to our rating portion. For those of you who are not familiar, I do not use stars, I use cups of coffee, and the less the better, because the gist is how many cups of coffee did I have to drink to get through the novel. So 0 cups of coffee is equivalent to 5 stars, 1 cup of coffee is equivalent to 4 stars, so on and so forth. Question, how many cups of coffee did I have to drink to get through Bird? Well, let's take a look. Yes, I drank 3 cups of coffee to get through this book. I was confused sometimes. Sometimes even when I wasn't confused, I was confused because I was wondering why that bit of information was there, and mainly because I had trouble connecting to the main character. Once again, reviews are subjective. Like I said earlier, what doesn't work for me may work for you, so I encourage you all to read the book yourselves. If you do decide to do so, please do come back and let us know what you thought about it. I'd love to hear your views. With that being said, that ends today's review. Thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Till then, happy reading.